Hey guys, today we are gonna be reacting to another story proof. I'm sorry my last video didn't get the whole entire video. We're not gonna do the same video. We're actually doing a different video on story proof. So let's start it right now.
When I was younger, my dad was in the military, and we moved very frequently. It was just me, my dad, and my mom.
We're also gonna be doing another one.
My dad decided to retire in Florida, so that's where we moved. We just found a house there, and I'd never lived by family before since I moved so much for the military that it was new for me to actually be by family, and I was really excited about that. So with a couple months living in Florida, we found a really nice house and started moving into it and remodeling some parts of it. One night, my dad was acting really strange, and I found out that my parents were getting a divorce. I was very awestruck and honestly thought they were joking because my parents were high school sweethearts. They'd been married for 21 years, and I'd never grown up without my dad. So that was really new information for me. My dad left the next morning. My mom and I decided to move back to Missouri in order to cope with ourselves, and I had my best friends there, and she had her best friend there. While in Missouri, we found out that my dad did find another woman, so that was very difficult for us to handle. We ended up going to the counselor a lot and had frequent emotional outbursts. I couldn't even be at school because I was so upset. I was extremely close to my dad, and he was always an amazing dad to me. During that time, I was in a very hard place. So I ended up doing virtual online school, which helped me a lot because I could spend more time with my mom and we could cope through it together. While I was in Missouri, I would always argue with my dad over the phone because I was not ready to be his new wife.
My webcams.
I ended up
right here.
deciding that my best bet was to meet her. I met her and she's actually...
I'm sorry if I'm not actually looking at the actual camera. I just want to watch this too, because I've never watched this before. This is the newest video. Yeah, they said this is Story Booth's newest video. I just got this notifications. If you didn't watch my Story Booth video, it's on Story Booth. Go check it out. It's really sad. And depression, I don't suppose you should watch it, but you can if you want to. But let's get back onto this.
She's a very nice woman. Although what her and my dad did was horrible and put an emotional toll on me forever, I really do enjoy her company and I enjoy my dad's. And it's fresh and nice to be able to go visit someone else sometimes and to accept and maybe even move on from what happened. My mom and I are a lot happier in Missouri, and although what happened to us was so disappointing, we still try our best to be strong every day. My dad is a great man, and although what he did really hurt me, he still has always been there for me, and he's never left by my side. He's always been a good dad to me, and he's always spent time with me, and I really appreciate that. I'm involved in cheerleading now, sports, and I'm not in that depressing place where I was in Florida. In Florida, I had to quit school and do online schooling because of how upset I was. I wasn't used to being without my dad, but now I'm gradually getting used to being without my dad and trying to see his side of the view and seeing his family as well. And looking back on it, I don't think my parents were ever happy. If your parents are divorced or they are getting divorced, it's going to be okay. People automatically assume that if your parents are divorced, it's going to be bad forever, and that was exactly my mindset. But I'm so much happier now being so involved and back with my best friends again, and we're really living happily.
Okay, we're gonna be watching another one. I'm gonna skip into the next one, so peace. Okay, we're back.
On Friday the 13th, my friends and I decided to plan a sleepover. So we decided to have it at my friend Marissa's house.
We don't have
so
one
we were at
more.
her house and we had some dinner. It was really good. We actually had some mustard chili. We were just sitting at the table talking, and one of my other friends, we'll call her Haley, she was like, oh my gosh, we should go play the Ouija board now because they knew that I brought it. So I was like, okay, let's go. Let's go in the basement. It'll be like fun.
Board is happy.
So we're playing, and I started getting really freaked out. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get possessed. Like, oh my gosh. Because I was so scared that, like, because we talked to this really mean ghost. I thought we were, but it was really spelling something else out. Tears are, like, streaming down my face, and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
What just happened? Why am I
like,
video
so I kept saying, like, I could see it. It was, like, in the mirror. It was really scary. So then I was like, we need to talk to it again to see what it wants. We talked to this ghost named Dan, and his wife's name is Gina, and he kept saying 40 cuts in the bathtub, like 790. We looked it up. It means love and, like, comfort. So we were like, do you want us to love you? And he said he has a daughter. And eventually we got this story that he had a daughter and she was like kidnapped and then she like killed herself, I guess. She died and it was really, really sad. So we felt bad and I kept wanting us to dig him up. And he said he was under the house. He was under the floor. So like I was getting really scared and like he said the ghost girl's name was Erin and she was 12 and she was turning 13 the next day. So we were like, do you want us to sing happy birthday? And he said yes. And we said at midnight. He said no. And I said what time? And he said 6. So I was like, oh gosh, we have to wake up at 6 in the morning. So then like everyone started getting creeped out. So we had to like stop because not everyone was like, comfortable with it. So we stopped playing and I put it away and I was terrified. I was like, I'm not comfortable with some of the things he said. I was just like really upset. So I called my sister and I was like, dude, this is what happened. And I told her the story and I was like, I am so scared. I was crying. Like, it was bad. I was crying really hard and I was like, I don't want to get possessed. So she's like, oh, it'll be okay. Just be glad that you said goodbye. I mean, you're still stupid. And I was like, okay. So I hung up on her because I was mad. And I just got so scared and my anxiety got really bad that I was like, I can't sleep over. So I texted my mom and my mom is like, okay, I'll come and get you. And my mom, she took me home and she's like, leave that board in the garage. It is not coming in the house. So I was like, okay. When I woke up at 7 and I did sing happy birthday to Erin because I promised Dan that I'd sing at 6. So I sang happy birthday and I'm good. I just don't like being home alone like I am right now. But that's my story of my scary Ouija board.
We're doing one more. I mean, actually 2 more, so. Boop. I'm gonna go on the second one. We're back, okay?
I'm a college student and I study AMT, which is basically aircraft mechanics. I'm having a lot of issues with bullying. This guy, he's a real jerk. Because he keeps on scaring me every now and then, and I kept telling him to stop. This guy would hide under the table and jump out and yell, or hide behind a group of guys, and also jump out and yell when I want to go and talk to them. Or when I'm in the bathroom minding my own business, and then he slams the door and screamed as hard as he could. Gave me like a mini heart attack. I felt super scared. I decided that I had enough of this nonsense, so I started complaining about him to my college student services and management. The next day he came to me saying, yo, did you complain about me? And I said, yeah, because I told you to stop bothering me and you didn't. And then he just said, okay, and just left. Like, this guy is literally heartless. Like, if surgeons gave him surgery, they will find no heart in there. When I got back to class, everyone was looking at me, telling me, yo, why did you complain about him? And that's not cool, and stop being a child. I was extremely intimidated to keep my mouth shut that day because I thought it will make matters even worse. So the entire day, he started bullying me even more, but differently. He started saying things behind my back. And honestly, all those words that he said, sure, he said it behind my back, but I couldn't hear him. And what's worse is he's got a bunch of guys against me. The end of the day came, I was walking to my car, and these guys will follow me and started yelling a bunch of words like, hey loser, where are you going? Are you gonna go cry to your mommy? Is your daddy gonna take you to the park and buy you ice cream? Aw, how sad. And I get in my car, and on my way back home, I was extremely upset of what happened. I was on the verge of tears. I made it back home. I saw my grandma, she was visiting us, and I didn't want my mom and my grandma to see how upset I was. So I faked a smile, and I said, hi, how are you guys doing? So I went to my room, locking myself in, thinking about what happened. And then my grandma and my mom asked me to join them in the backyard for some dessert. And they asked me, is everything okay? And we feel like something's bothering you. And so I told them the entire story because I felt like I need to get it out of my chest. They were shocked and I started to cry a little. But then my grandma told me in the end, those people will be begging for extra change in the sidewalk and you will be in a better position. And honestly, really made me feel better about myself. So in conclusion, if you're a bully, just stop it. Life is not worth upsetting people and just having fun, ruining their days.
We're gonna look at one more. Okay, I'm gonna 1, 2, and pause. 1, 2. Okay, we're back.
I was born with a condition called alopecia, which means my hair follicles just weren't working and I never grew any hair on my head. So I was basically bald for most of my life because there's different types of alopecia. There's one where your hair can grow back and fall out, and there's one where it doesn't grow back. And I had that type, so it was pretty hard, like having no hair for most of my childhood. And I had to wear wigs and stuff, and it just wasn't very good. Whenever I was at sleepovers, they'd be like, oh my god, we should do our hair. And I just couldn't get my hair done because I didn't have any. And there was a few times where there were bullies and people were mean to me. Like one time in school, a boy pulled my wig off in front of everyone and everyone stared. It wasn't good. And then there's like a few times where I was confident enough to go out with no hair without putting on my wig, and there'd be people staring, pointing, laughing, and it was sad. But the good things that came with having no hair were I never got head lice. Like I remember getting a note home saying there's head lice in your class, you should check your child's hair and stuff. And I never had to get checked and I never had to get treated. I never had head lice because I just didn't have hair. And I'm also on a website called the Rapunzel Foundation where children can donate their hair to people that don't have it. And actually, when I turned 10, my hair started to grow again, and I was like, this is so weird, why is this happening? And it grew and it grew and it kept growing, and then I got some hair extensions when it was long enough, and I had them for about a year. And then I decided I don't want them anymore, I want my own hair. And so I got them out, I got my hair trimmed, and it was just like a dream come true. I'd never gone out with my own head of hair, and it was just so great. And I was so happy, I was so confident.
Okay, that is the end of the video. Bye, guys. I hope y'all liked it. Deuces!